Well, good evening. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 2008 Fridley High School 50th Commencement Ceremony. I'm Dave Webb, the principal here at Fridley High School, and I have the pleasure tonight to introduce to you the folks that are seated behind me. From your left to right, we have our school board members, Gordon Backlund, Brad Richter, Kim Sampson, Chris Riddle, Marcia Lindblad, and Fred Bischke. Next, we have the Superintendent of the Year for the state of Minnesota on stage with us tonight, our own very own Mark Robertson. Next, we have our featured speaker for this evening, Mr. Joe Bew. And two great members of our Fridley High School administrative crew, Ms. Sarah Vernig, our assistant principal, and Mr. Dan Roth, our activities director. At this time, I'd like to invite Julia Reinisch, Catherine Rogers, and Octavia Korzak to the podium. Each of these students have been outstanding leaders at Fridley High School, not just this year, but for the past 4 years. Please join me in welcoming Julia, Catherine, and Octavia.
Good evening, and welcome Dr. Webb, Ms. Vernig, Mr. Roth, Mr. Robertson, distinguished school members, faculty and staff, community members, family, and friends. My name is Julia Reinisch, and it is my pleasure and extreme honor to welcome you all to the 50th commencement ceremony for the Fridley High School class of 2008. On behalf of my fellow students, I would like to be the first to thank you all for joining us on this very special day. Tonight, I would like to share a few opening comments for the class of 2008. Well, here we are. After 760 days of this madness called high school, we're finally graduating. Yeah. Today is our day. Today we are celebrated as the 50th Fridley Senior High graduating class, the class of 2008. Now, what exactly is graduation? Some people might say that it is the proof of freedom that we will soon be bestowed. Others might say that it is when we are forced to grow up and become responsible adults. Or it could be said that it is just another day, no different than any other, except that we are each endowed matching dresses. We may go into graduation silent, reflective, and awaiting our chance to be recognized for our diploma. We will all probably hear this moment described as another step in our journey. However, even with such a diverse and intellectual class as ours, there is one question we have all thought about. What's next? Here we are, ready to leave the city of our comforts and go into the wilderness of our intuition. As said in a quote by Alan Alda, you can't get there by bus, only by hard work and risk, and by not quite knowing what you are doing. But what you will discover will be wonderful. What you discover will be yourself. And now it is my pleasure to welcome our next speaker, Catherine Rogers.
Thanks, Julia. Hello, I'm Catherine Rogers. For the past 4 years, we have been artists, athletes, volunteers, and mathematicians. In another 4 years, we will emerge and take our place in society as graphic designers, professional trainers, philanthropists, and engineers. Our class has much to be proud of. We receive outstanding scores on standardized tests. We have a superior ranked band. Our football team sets records. And who can forget our soccer pep fests and the packed stands that very evening. We're known for our Diamond Level Key Club, ranked 3rd in the world, our nationally ranked athletes, and our award-winning visual and performing artists. Let's face it, friends, we're basically amazing. We exemplify Bernard Shaw's famous quote, "Most men see things as they are and ask why, but we dream of things that never were and ask why not." Our ingenuity, our creativity, our athletic talents. These are the things that will set us apart in our future. This is the legacy that Fridley High School has given to us. We have grown accustomed to succeeding and to winning. We have set the bar high and will continue to do so as we move on from Fridley High School. And now here is Octavia Korzak.
Good evening, everyone. As Catherine mentioned, I am Octavia Korzak, and I am honored to be with you all today as a part of the 50th graduating class of Fridley High School. Marking a half-century of academic and athletic excellence here at Fridley, the graduating class of 2008 represents what FHS truly represents. Entering Fridley as a freshman, I knew no one. Yet in 4 short years, I have come to know the goodness and the amiability of the students and the staff who traverse the busy corridors of this academic institution. Being a transfer student from a small school, I was representative of a typical timid and worried freshman. However, my fears were for naught, because already from my first week at Fridley, I realized the strong sense of solidarity between FHS students caused by our diverse backgrounds. The plethora of organizations and the multicultural student body allow FHS to be a place where students learn respect and tolerance, but are simultaneously given the opportunity to foster their passion for knowledge. In addition to the firm academic education we have received at Fridley, we have also gained valuable cultural and life knowledge, as well as undergone a truly character-building experience. Thus, as the result of a Herculean effort which the staff and faculty have made in educating us, we, the class of 2008, leave this school prepared for a promising and virtuous future. The last 4 years have been a defining experience for each of us. While some have found a love for drama, others have found their passion in athletics. Similarly, as some have come to enjoy the sciences, others have discovered their infatuation with art. It is this wide range of talent found in our class which allows each of us not only a sense of individuality, but also a communal sense of pride in being a part of this class. Moreover, the broad array of interests represented amongst us allows one to see how much we have truly accomplished in different fields, but as a whole nonetheless. Those of us who performed in Kiss Me Kate were the ones cheering in the stands at the homecoming football game, and those who were successful soccer players were standing side by side with our academically oriented peers at the Scholastic Achievement Banquet. Each one of us has come to know our individual strengths and weaknesses. Moreover, we have also comprehended how our talents and strengths can better the lives of others. This very process may be considered similar to that of arranging a puzzle, considering we are each a single piece within the intricate puzzle of life. Coming into high school, we are simply individual pieces searching for a niche within the puzzle. It was only through our common experiences, the building of friendships, the discovery of our passions, and the sharing of our talents that we have finally found our place in the puzzle known as Fridley High School. Hence today, we are finally able to see how each one of us is needed to complete this work. Just as that crucial last piece placed in the puzzle, our graduation from FHS has finished 4 years of formation, development, and maturing. Indeed, the class of 2008 encompasses an extensive spectrum of academic, athletic, and artistic potential. Today, we have come together, united, as a class with immeasurable potential and strength, the class of solidarity and friendship, Although we must leave Fridley High School, we will remember and cherish the moments we have shared, and we will take the gifts of knowledge and tolerance we have received in order to step forward and apply them to a new chapter of our lives. I wish you all the best, and thank you.
Well done, you guys. Good job, Octavia. As we began planning for this evening back in September, we knew that we had a special night on our hands, Fridley's 50th commencement ceremony. And we started to brainstorm how we could really make sure that we recognized the great things happening in Fridley for the past 50 years. We started working with a couple of our staff members that were here and started as teachers 50 years ago. And I started working with Bob Barnett and Don Myers. And they actually started talking about some of the kids, and they were actually referring to the 18-year-olds from 50 years ago who had to explain back to them, hey, we're no longer kids, Bob and Don. But we have tonight a wonderful opportunity. Tonight, before us, we will soon be inviting the valedictorian from 50 years ago on our stage, and her name is Miss Karen Madsen. And the three of them will join us to share stories. And what I enjoyed most of this past year in working with this small committee is that we heard stories of hard work and of Fridley pride and hometown pride, and stories of humor, and stories that really truly laid the foundation for what we know today as Fridley High School. We have, in the next few minutes, you'll hear stories of things like a bucket of sand, or how the school colors or mascot were selected, and some stories also about our school song. With that, I would like you to join me in welcoming our valedictorian from 1959, Miss Karen Madsen Jacobson, Mr. Bob Barnett, and Mr. Don Myers.
Good evening. I am Karen Madsen Jacobson. It isn't often one has the opportunity to represent the same graduating class at both the first and 50th commencements of that school. That is truly my honor this evening. The subject of my address 49 years ago was our role in a changing world. It reflected on the history of Fridley and the impact of the population explosion at that time. I would like to share one sentence from those remarks that summarizes the era of that first graduating class. In the 12 short years that we have attended school, we have witnessed the development of television, jet propulsion, nuclear energy, plastics, the use of penicillin, and the Salk vaccine, just to mention a few. I should have added space exploration to that list. Although the Russian Sputnik was launched in 1957, the U.S. did not orbit a man into space until the year after we graduated. Perhaps that is why the significance of the space program did not seem so relevant at the time. Little did we know. When our class began first grade, there was a total of 72 pupils in Fridley District 23. By 1959, that number had grown to over 1,700 students, with more families moving in every week. About a fourth of our class came from that influx. Since there was no junior or senior high school in Fridley in the mid-1950s, the students were bused to surrounding schools for 7th through 9th grades. In 10th and 11th grades, we were in the new building next door, but attended split-shift classes due to space limitations. By the time we were seniors, our new high school building was finally complete, and we had sufficient classrooms and state-of-the-art facilities for a host of electives and extracurricular activities. We could hardly believe it was finally a reality. All of the firsts generated by a brand new high school created great opportunities for involvement by our class. There were so many decisions to be made and new trails to blaze. Working hard to accomplish those goals certainly contributed to the cohesiveness our class has enjoyed. It was a time of great fun, challenge, and pride, along with the need to cooperate and compromise. Today, many of us are still in regular contact with each other, thanks in no small part to email. The history and experience of growing up together creates a bond like none other. I am delighted to report that we have over half of our 50 classmates in attendance here tonight. 50 years in the future looks continents away when viewed from the vantage point of you, tonight's graduating seniors. Believe me, for the class and teachers of 1959, 50 years can easily be seen in our rearview mirror. When Fridley graduates its 100th class, you too will be amazed at how fast the time has passed and will marvel at all of the changes that have taken place. I would encourage this class of '08 to maintain the friendships and connections you have developed at Fridley High. Congratulations on your commencement and best wishes for maintaining your valued relationships. And now I would like to introduce two members of the first faculty of Fridley High, Bob Barnett and Don Myers.
Thank you, Karen. I very much appreciate this. And for the class of 2008, as I look out at you now, if you look up on that very far corner up there, is the 27 members that are here from the class of 59. So if you want to know what you're going to look like 50 years from now, take a good look, you know. We had the opportunity, Don and I did when Dave Webb asked us to help coordinate this whole thing. And Don and I were fortunate enough to be hired in the first, not actually, but the faculty that started with that graduating class as fairly young men. And what a privilege it was at that time to be a part of a tradition that's gone on to this state today. So Don and I had the opportunity to take out the class. Is this thing working? Okay.
Just set it down.
Okay, yes, dear. Yes, dear. We had the opportunity to take out some of these young people out for lunch. So as we sat there and we talked and reminisced a little bit, after we were done with lunch, I had mentioned to Karen, I said, Karen, it's really, really nice to see you kids again. And she looked at me and she said, Bob, I'm 67 years old. You don't have to call me a kid anymore. Just a little bit of background to getting hired, starting off, and the traditions that went with Fridley. You know, those people, now you're in this new school. This school was opened in 1961. The other school, now the middle school, was the junior senior high. Don and I started there. We had split shifts. The 7th and 9th graders went from 7 in the morning till 11:30. The senior high kids came at 11 and went to, I think, 4 o'clock. And all the varsity sports then were thereafter. And Don and I were both coaching some varsity sports. So we were here from 7 o'clock in the morning till usually 5:30 or 6 in the evening. Our first salaries, I remember, Don, was $4,000. We got $250 for a sport. We thought we were in seventh heaven. We thought we were millionaires. And the thing that I remember most, and then I'll give this to Don in a second, is the geography of Fridley at that time was sand. This is part of the Anoka sand plain, blow sand all over the place. John Brisky sitting up there with the class of 59, one of our football players. The football field then was behind the now middle school. And the thing that football players would say is, don't tackle me out of bounds. Please don't tackle me out of bounds. Because the sandburrs would just absolutely cover them, so they were begging. And Don's going to talk a little bit about some of the other tradition. I'm just going to mention one. With those sand and everything, and the schools in our conference, Spring Lake Park was one of them. Harry Sheff was the principal up there, and he wanted to develop a tradition of competition between the two schools. So he came up, he went out, I think, to a dime store at the time, bought a 50-cent little pail and a little shovel and put sand in that, and came to one of our basketball games, I think in 59 or 60, and said, we're going to play for this bucket of sand trophy. Those of you that played basketball this year, Jesse, you played, one of the things that we presented at that game was that bucket of sand trophy. That's tradition, when you can continue that for 50 years. So thanks, and I'll give it to Don.
Thanks, Bob. We were a young faculty, and the faculty that's up there, when Bob and I were hired in 1958, we joined a group that doubled the size of the faculty. Now, this is a 7 through 12 school. There were 34 of us total. There were 2 custodians and 4 cooks. And it seemed to me there were 2 clerical people, 4 in the whole district, 2 in the high school. So things have changed a little bit. But some of the fun things we had, and we just had a wonderful time. And I hope, I heard your speakers tonight, and they did a marvelous job. I just hope you had some fun going to Fridley High School also, because that's a key piece of what keeps you close as human beings. And the faculty that's here tonight, we had fun teaching and working hard with the kids. And I know your faculty here, your staff here did as well. But we had the fun of starting the school traditions. You're wearing black and gold. Those colors were selected by the students. The mascot, the tiger, black and gold. The yearbook, Bengalian, the Bengal Tigers. All of it was started by students and the principal of the high school, and with some faculty input. The tiger's tail. I'm doing something to this microphone. But anyway, those traditions are 50 years old, and they're still here. So thanks for keeping those alive. Thanks for allowing us to be here tonight and share this time with you. I do want to say one thing about school song. Oh, we were having a little meeting with Karen and Bob and some of the other people from the class of 59. And Bob said to me, "Do you remember the name of the Fridley Tiger?" Anyone out here know? Any of you graduates know the name of the Fridley Tiger? Think about it. Fred Lee. Fred Lee. That was the result of a contest. And John Flood, I think you would remember that. Anyway, during that first year, the school song, Wave the Flag, was chosen. And Bud Veeder, who was our first band director, and Vern Knutson, who was the first principal, wrote the words for the song, the Fridley fight song. And with that, I think Dave Webb probably has something to say.
We thought that it would be only fitting tonight, in honor of the 50th celebration, to sing our school song. And Mr. Grimsey, we're going to kick it back to you, class of 2008. If you would rise, and the community members, please join us in our school song from 50 years ago. And everyone, please rise. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Don. Thank you, Bob. At this time, would the choir and band members make their way back to their respective groups? As they're making their way back, I would like to take a minute to have the class of 59 please rise the students and staff from the class of 59, can you please rise to be recognized? This class has helped us put together a gathering afterwards for our community. We will be gathering at the American Legion if you would like to join us after this event. And so it's just up Old Central at the American Legion. And Mr. Messer and Mr. Grimsey, whenever you're set. As the choir and band members are making their way back to their seats, I'd like to thank Mr. Messer and Mr. Grimsey for their outstanding leadership of our music program here at Fridley High School. Our staff speaker for this evening is Mr. Joe Bew. This year, our 2008 graduating seniors selected Mr. Bew to speak at tonight's ceremony. Mr. Bew graduated from Fridley High School with the class of 1999. After graduating from the University of Wisconsin River Falls, Joe returned to Fridley High School to teach mathematics. For the past 4 years, Joe has taught math, this year teaching our AP Calculus course. He has also coached football, baseball, and managed our weight room facility. Joe has a quick wit and is especially caring teaching style. His style fully engages the students in his classroom, and I'm sure he'll engage you this evening. Please welcome Mr. Joe Bew.
I would like to believe that the class of 2008 voted me to speak tonight because I've been an inspiration to your lives. That wasn't a funny part. But let's be honest. It's because you like my stories. We all know how I wrecked Santa's workshop and opened the door during a lockdown. How I became a math god and canoed through a tunnel of spiders. How I almost caused a small explosion taking apart a GameCube. And how I utilized my father-in-law's inability to smell to conquer the venison fridge and septic system. We all know that my wife thinks my son, Dust, looks like me. And we may never forget that the chandelier hangs low over the dining room table. But all these do not compare to the time I went high diving. I grew up in a small town, Fridley, Minnesota. Some of you may have heard of it. My father worked at the St. Paul Ford plant as an assembly line worker, which meant two things. We were middle class, and we got 2 weeks vacation at the beginning of every July. Now, these 2 weeks are usually spent at various campgrounds in northern Minnesota, and each campground has its own particular personality. This one campground we went to, just a second. That's better. This one campground we went to had a high dive platform. And the unique thing was that the platform was in the lake. Now, being the person that my father was, the first thing he did after we put up the tent was get his suit on and swim out to the platform. He climbed up the ladder, walked to the edge, and without hesitation, performed a majestic swan dive. No splash. My brother, 3 years my senior, and idolizing my father, decided to do the same thing. He swam out, climbed up the ladder, walked to the edge, and from shore I could tell he was trying to mimic my father, but he got a little scared, and it turned out he did the pencil dive, straight in. Little splash. So now, then there was me, my hero, my father, my brother who I looked up to. I wanted to be like them, so I was going to go out to the platform. The problem was, I was 5 years old, and my mother wasn't about to let me go out there without a life jacket. So I slapped on the life jacket, the Snoopy life jacket, the little flappy thing behind the head, the strap between the legs. Now, these are great for keeping you above water, but not so great for swimming. You won't see Michael Phelps wearing it this summer in Beijing. But I made the swim. I got to the platform and began to climb, and climb, and climb. The air began to thin. It began getting warmer as I got closer and closer to the sun. But I got to the platform, crawled out, and against all advice of my father, I looked over the edge. Now, when you're 5 years old, 10 feet looks like 100 feet. So I calmly turned to my father and asked if I could get down. But he did not hear me over my brother's laughter and my mother screaming from shore. But my dad said, just look one more time, just to make sure that you don't want to go off the board. And I was at this age where you trusted everybody, especially your father. And what could be the harm? I'm not going to jump, so I turned and I looked. Just then, I was thrust over the edge. Everything went into slow motion. I could hear my mother from shore yelling, "No!" My brothers in the water yelling, "Yes!" The head support of my life vest was flapping wildly in the breeze. But in all this chaos, I managed to right myself, made the pencil dive position, and hit the water with a wet thud. The strap between my legs yanked me back to the surface. Now, the makers of the Snoopy Life Vest know what they're doing, because after a 10-foot fall, my hair didn't even get wet. But as I lay there motionless in the water, I knew that justice would be served, because my mother was screaming from shore, and my father would eventually have to face her wrath. Now, I would be wasting an opportunity if I just used this stage to tell a story. So I'll give you one piece of advice before I go. Here it is. For those of you taking notes, write this down. Get involved in life. Create your own experiences so you can share your own stories. And here's how you get started. First, don't waste the next few years of your life playing Halo 3 or listening to your iPod at a caribou. Next, instead of text messaging a friend, call them. Or better yet, take a road trip. Try new experiences that will add to your profile instead of spending time online making up your Facebook profile. Play a guitar, not Guitar Hero. Now, I wish you the best as you get ready to jump off that platform. And remember, there's always going to be a lake that people think you cannot swim. There will always be a ladder that seems too high to climb. There will always be an excuse for not doing something, and there will not always be someone there to give you the needed push. So class of 2008, when you are ready, jump.
There's always one. All right. Scattered throughout the gymnasium this evening are some district faculty and staff here, and I would like to have all district faculty and staff please rise to be recognized at this time. Many of them are scattered throughout. Please join me in. We have three individuals that are retiring from the high school this year, Ms. Margie Sweeney, Ms. Joyce Kintop, and Ms. Ellingson. Would you please stand to be recognized? Next, I'd like to recognize the work of Sue Culbertson, who really coordinated behind the scenes this entire event. Sue, as you probably know, set up all the line lists, all the programs, all the ordering for anything that you see here tonight. Sue did behind the scenes. And once again, please join me in congratulating her. We're fortunate to have our own in-house technical crew led by Judy Armold and Dave Harvette. And please join me in congratulating their entire crew on their work. With the number of athletic events that this arena holds each year, it takes quite a while just to get it spiffed back up for an evening like tonight. But Rick Moss and his crew are always up to the task. Please join me in congratulating all of them this evening. At this point, I'd like to recognize our many honor students. I'd like to begin by recognizing our co-valedictorians. This year, we have 4 students that have maintained a perfect 4.0 GPA during their 4 years at Fridley High School. Would Andrew Panning, Monika Premsuk, Julia Reinisch, and Leonie Thomas please rise to be recognized? Congratulations to each of you. And now I would like to recognize students with a 3.0 to a 3.49 graduating with honors. Please now stand to be recognized. Congratulations to each of you. Next, would all the students with a 3.5 to a 3.749 graduating with high honors please stand to be recognized. Congratulations to each of you. And finally, would all the students with a 3.75 to a 4.0 graduating with Fridley's highest honors please stand to be recognized. Congratulations. And now, would the members of the class of 2008 please stand? Members of the Board of Education and Superintendent Robertson, the members of this class have fulfilled the requirements for graduation from this school as set forth by the State Board of Education and the Board of Education of Fridley School District 14. In recognition of this achievement, they are entitled to their diplomas as graduates of Fridley High School. We seek the cooperation of all guests in attendance this evening by withholding your applause and cheers until the entire class has been presented. We want to ensure that every name is heard as they cross the stage this evening. Please refrain from calling out when your graduate's name is read. School Board Chair Marsha Lindblad, at this time, the class of 2008 will be called to the platform to receive their diplomas. Row 1, you may begin making your way to the stage, and the rest of you may be seated. Ms. Vernick will read the names.
All right, you ready? Kamal Abda. Makareen Abda. Yasmin Abuish. Halimo Ahmed Noor. Ta'ani Al-Hadrami. Rosalie Allard. Justin Allen. Amber Anderson. Brett Anderson. Kelly Anderson. Luke Aspenson. Jesse Backstrom. JC Vaughn. Alexandra Berrigan. Sue Bartu. Denny Bell. Matthew Benjamin. Derek Bennett. Matthew Berg. Brielle Bernardi. Brianna Bertozzi. Jennifer Burr. Matthew Burr. Michelle Blomberg. Felicia Breitkripes. Christopher Brown. Annie Breitowski. Stephen Calabrese. Tim Camarillo. Robert Campbell. Sky Campbell. Beyonce Carter. Lucas Chambers. Stephen Chan. Renee Chiswick. Rhea Christensen. Hope Christensen. Omar Siriaco. Corey Clint. Michael Kogel. Teresa Cole. Kimberly Cohn. Blake Cook. Wilhelmina Cooper. Lindsay Crawford. Donovan De La Riva Carpio. Tiffany Demo. Tenzin Dedden. Tara Duno. Catherine Dupay. Debbie Edwards. Bush Fang. Taylor Felton. Jared Findell. Lauren Fleischacker. Faja Ford. Megan Forsland. Daniel Gable. Elena Gabrielson. Brianna Galligan. Monica George. Maria Gomez Sotelo. Jordan Greenup. Christina Gressing. Besnik Halidi. Sarah Hamill. James Hamilton. Rama Hassan. Jessica Hernandez Benitez. Brittany Hobbs. Grant Hoagland. Tony Howe. Stephen Husnick. Mohammed Hussein. Xavier Hussein. Arho Igovesha. Amanda Island. Peter Eicher. Abdul Fattah Ismail. Kelsey Jackson. Valentino Jackson. Jonathan Jagodinsky. Bilal Jalali. Alex Johnson. Devin Johnson. Erica Johnson. Melissa Johnson. Colin Jones. Omar Kalam. Mohammed Kenyari. Mohammed Kabeto. Zaytuna Kabeto. Abrar Khan. Neil Clower. Kevin Klonks. John Knutson. Octavia Korzak. Nidal Kram. Justin Crone. Matthew Crook. Kelly Cruz. Nicole Kubicek. Christine Larson. Danielle Lasser. Costanza Lauder. Ashley Lemke. Nicole Leonard. Olga Leshavakova. Christopher Lindblad. Aaron Lindquist. Catherine Lisk. Tim Lisk. Amanda Lohr. Deidre Lawrenson. Ida Loverick. Elizabeth Lund. James McKenzie. Scott Magnuson. Megan Manderscheid. Clinton Massey. Martin McShane. Jamie McTavish. Stephen Meisner. Kimberly Melly. Amy Messenger. Kianda Miller. Sharia Miller. Cody Mizuraka. Daniel Majeski. Nick Marin. Darren Malsamo. Anthony Nelson. Jaya Nelson. Bengt Nergard. Jeremy Norgard. Saman Naupavar. Jesse Okoye. Desiree Olson. Jameson Olson. Jacob Ostwald. Andrew Panning. Ann Peterson. Kimberly Peterson. Olivia Pedvorsak. Monica Premsuk. Jakia Quirk. Andrew Raker. Kevin Reese. Carissa Ryan. Julia Reinish. Jason Ream. Catherine Rogers. Catherine Rogish. Samuel Ross Brown. Thomas Ruart. John Ryan. Stephanie Sackery. Megan Schley. Ricky Schnarr. Jamie Scholzen. Rachel Schwartfager. Stephen Celine. Ryan Seary. Jordan Shoulders. Jimmy Sintler. Adam Smith. Andrew Stifer. Andrew Stelzer. Jared Stevens. Luis Stewart. Sean Sullivan. Amelia Swaggart. Rosalind Schweitzer. Kyle Terrell. Leonie Thomas. Jacob Thompson. Can we just ask you to please hold your applause until the end? Erica Thorson. Pakapon Tia Sangthong. Tolbert Anika. Williams Totome. Trisha Tretinsky. Claire Truckenbrod. Maria Velasco. Derek Vittori. Lakita Wallace. Jeffrey Walter. Andrew Watson. Kelly Wilka. Joshua Williams. Giovanni Wilson. Katie Wimberly. Kent Wold. Adam Wright. Chang Yang. Laura Yanquist. And Nianu Zena.
Ladies and gentlemen, the class of 2008.